October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Tonight, the Sioux City community gathered to remember those who lost their lives due to domestic violence. Every year, Safe Place holds a vigil as a way to honor those affected by domestic violence. Safe Place is an organization that provides support, advocacy, and a safe environment for adults and children affected. The vigil is a time for people not only to remember those who died suffering through the physical and mental abuse, but also a time to honor survivors who made it out. During the vigil, stories were shared about the victims and the violence they had to endure. One organizer hopes this vigil will better help the community to understand the importance of promoting social change and ending violence.
Not only that awareness, but maybe some community building, and that if they have anybody that they know or suspect, or they themselves, they know where to reach out.
If you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, you can call the Safe Place Crisis Line. That number is there on your screen, 1-800-982-7233. Or you can go to the Safe Place Shelter located 1723 Grandview Boulevard in Sioux City.